like just yesterday that I started this research project.
Yeah, time flies when you're exploring uncharted territories of consciousness, huh?
No, like it literally feels like just yesterday. My last explicit conscious memories in relation to a sense of self are from 4 years ago when I started this research project.
I'm here today with Kristin Windsor, who just completed a 4-year case study after many, many years of implicit health challenges that were ineffectively addressed by medical professionals across multiple states. Thank you so much for taking time to be here, Kristin Windsor. It is an honor to connect with you.
Thank you so much for having me. It is such a blessed opportunity, such a divine privilege to be here and get to share my work. So thank you so much for having me and creating this space for me.
When did your research begin, and what brought you to this exploration?
Yeah, so I'd been researching psychology for a very long time. I started to dive into it in 2011 when I was still continuing to struggle with battles that were just not being addressed by the mental health care system. And then in 2014, when these battles became disabling, I dove even deeper into psychology research. This official project, though, began in 2017 when I started to research neuroscience. After realizing that psychology and the existing mental health care system simply did not have the answers I was looking for, I decided to explore other routes of learning. And so I dove into neuroscience research, quit all mental health care treatments, and then began to create my own healing path while exploring these case studies to try and understand what was happening inside of me, and from that knowledge create effective healing modalities. And I was gratefully able to do just that.
What was the focus of your research?
Yeah, so my research started by just wanting to understand what I was going through. I had been having these indescribable experiences for most of my life, and nobody knew what was happening. Over 100 doctors had never been able to provide an explanation for any of my experiences. And so that left me feeling very isolated and alone and confused. And above all, it really took a toll on my sense of self-worth because I thought that my identity was these health challenges that had no answers. And so I was on this quest to understand what was happening inside of me. Ultimately, though, the research ended up focusing on implicit memories, attachment systems, and how they interact to affect brain-body regulation. So there's various patterns and protocols inside of our body, like how our heart pumps blood throughout our brain and our body. And my studies specifically focused on how implicit memories affect our sense of self and navigation through current and potential moments, and how attachment systems interplay with implicit memories, and how implicit memories and attachment systems affect brain-body operations.
Would you mind explaining each of those topics a little more?
Yeah, definitely. I can break this down. So implicit memories. Okay, so let's talk about memories first of all. When you think of a memory, what comes to mind? Okay, maybe you're like, okay, I've got this to-do list or this shopping list, or you think of that one time you went to the zoo and fed the giraffes. Those are explicit conscious memories, and that's typically what we think of when we think about memories. But that is actually a really, really small portion of our memories. The majority of our memories exist and operate unconsciously. And so every single moment of our lives Even that very first day of existence as a little baby, and experiences of crawling when you're a few months old, and that one time when you were asleep 10 years ago in the middle of the night. Every single moment of experience is stored as implicit memory data inside of our brain and our body. And memories have absolutely nothing to do with storing the past. Neurobiologically, memories exist to provide navigation within present and potential moments as we understand our sense of self and our reality, and how our sense of self interacts with reality. All of that information is unconsciously coming from implicit memories. And so there's two main types of implicit memories. Emotional memories just store sensations. And so what happens a lot of time is we're moving through life and we'll have a moment where we feel an emotional sensation. More often than not, that's actually the activation of an implicit memory affecting brain-body operations and projecting an experience into the present moment. More often than not, the emotional sensations we automatically encounter are stemming from implicit memory activations that are affecting brain-body regulation. More often than not, the feelings we feel here and now have nothing to do with the here and now, and everything to do with data gathered during a past moment. The other type of implicit memory are implicit procedural memories. And these they're like a type of muscle memory. They hold learned motor skills and action patterns, or innate movement programs. So these are stored inside of our implicit memories. So as we move through life, the way that our body naturally understands how to proceed through unfolding moments has to do with implicit procedural memory data. And so, for example, when you're walking and you approach a building, are you like, oh my God, it's some structure that I can never get into? No, your eyes kind of scan along, locate a door, and you instinctively move towards the door. Upon approaching the door, you instinctively reach for the knob or the handle, and you turn a knob and the door moves inward or outward. And then a part of this building opens up to let you in. The understanding about all of that comes from implicit memory data. Without that data, the body would approach a building and be like, oh my God, it's some structure and I don't know what it is, and I don't know how to interact with it, and I don't know how to get inside. The ability to recognize a door, understand that it's a part of the wall that actually moves, understanding that reaching for the doorknob and turning it creates this subsequent result of the door being able to move so that you can move through the wall instead of the wall remaining closed, basically. And so just the understanding about moving through that process completely comes from implicit procedural memories. And so neuroscience discovered that 80% of decision making stems from implicit procedural memories. And so when we go and choose a snack, for example, we open up the kitchen cupboard or whatever modality our snacks are stored in, right? We open it up and we look inside and we think that we're in a brand new moment of experience making a conscious choice. But that's not the whole picture. At most, at best, if our prefrontal cortex is lit up like a wildfire, only 20% of choice in that moment will be made consciously. And this is a really big deal, because if all of the thoughts and the feelings that we're experiencing, all of the sensations and the emotions, and like most of our decisions, if it's all coming from implicit memories being projected beyond our awareness, how often are we actually fully experiencing a brand new moment. So implicit memories was a big part of my research focus, and it's fascinating, and I am still trying to process this, I'll be perfectly honest, but a big reason that my research ended up focusing on this is because I lost the ability to create conscious explicit memories for 3 years. And during that time, it was this gradual process about understanding how my brain and my body were processing memories. Like, okay, if I can't remember yesterday, did that exist? Like, does my brain and my body know about it? And basically, long story short, I was able to first-handedly witness and learn about how my body, my unconscious, miraculous body, was storing every single second of my experience, even though my mind could not get to that knowledge. And that was like just indescribably profound to learn about that in such an intimate way. Our body doesn't understand a sense of linear time instinctively. Any information that is inside of the body is now. It's now, and 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 it's now. There is no such thing as then, and there is no such thing as a potential then that could be. There's just now, and there's just now, and there's just now, and there's just now. And so these implicit memories were projecting decades of sensations and action patterns into immediate experience, but I didn't actually have any grounded presence in the moment. It was just a collage of energetic projections. And the way that my brain and my body were processing new memories was also in this sense of fragments of experience. Like, I would remember an abstract sensation of a thought or an abstract sensation of one sight or one texture, but there was no context. There was no surrounding detail. And even these fragments of sensations had no connection with a sense of self. So for example, I might remember a door. And I can picture a door, a very specific door. But there was no sense of self that was opening the door. There was no sense of self that was experiencing the moment. There was no conceptualization about the surrounding reality where the door was this one thing and then there was all these other things in this same environmental setting. Like, there was no surrounding detail. And so memories are processed through abstract associations. There's not these neat categorical boxes. Instead, it's these abstract, energetic, like an abstract concept and an abstract concept, and then they make linkage through various styles of associations. And so my whole entire life and sense of self and sense of processing reality was through these very abstract, energetic associations rather than through a neatly solidified conceptualization of an organized, integrated memory system or a sense of self or an understanding of self and surrounding world. Implicit memories was the first adventure in my research. The second focus was attachment systems. And so I've been researching psychology for many, many years before I dove into neuroscience. And I had never actually read about attachment systems. It wasn't something that was talked about. And that baffles me. That baffles me because attachment systems are very, very important. They are the structure to understanding our brain and our body and any type of implicit health, including mental health. And so attachment systems are the energetic space where experiences of love sculpt abstract neurobiological blueprints into specific brain-body wiring through which we personally encounter life. And so we're born with this brain and this body, this miraculously beating heart, this, these neurobiological structures, but there's no data input in them yet. There's no sense of self existing in that moment as we're born into this world. And so this abstract brain-body system undergoes these miraculous processes of being wired into a specific style of the being through experiences of love, especially focusing on caregiver bonding. And so attachment systems are literally vibrations of love inside of our brains and our bodies. Experiences of love create energetic vibrations that our body stores. And attachment systems are super important. They connect our mind and our body, including our unconscious mind with our unconscious body and our conscious mind with our unconscious body-mind. And so attachment systems really affect how we understand our sense of self and sense of reality. Implicit memories and attachment systems interact to affect brain-body regulations. And so the way that our body instinctively understands how to move blood throughout our brain and our body, for example, or how to intake and process oxygen, those come from protocols from implicit memories that are affected by attachment systems. That's what my work ended up really focusing on these past few years.
What did you learn during your case studies, or what were some conclusions that they led to?
Yeah, so my research led to several new discoveries, and it was a combination of learning about neuroscience, studying my experiences, and slowly drawing some new connections. And so the conclusions I came to were not things I directly learned from other sources. They were new things that I kind of figured out by piecing together my experience in relation to what I was learning from neuroscience. So